I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, March the 21st, where it's the first day of spring and we've got spring support on the board. Probably the best support we've had in a week so far this year. But let's look at the board on April live cattle futures, up another 45 cents at 129.57, getting awfully close to 130, and who knows, we may get there before it's over. June up 65 cents at 123.37. March feeder cattle unchanged at 142.25, and April up 52 cents at 148.32. Your out fronts were sharply higher, getting way out there in your late summer contracts. August, if you remember many weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, I was telling you about these August feeder contracts being way too cheap. Well, they weren't even 150 then. They're way up to 157.52 and could go higher yet. Your fat cattle trade, we haven't seen hardly anything in the country on negotiated trade so far this week. Just a couple of loads there in Nebraska at 205 on Wednesday, but not much else going on. Did hear some rumors of some 130 in Iowa to regional. Didn't come across on the reports, but come from a pretty reliable source, and not sure if those were confinement cattle, not sure if they put some kickers on them to hide them somewhere in the reports, but heard that, and I wouldn't doubt that if that's not true. Your auctions, Sioux Falls Regional Livestock had an auction there, fat cattle auction on Wednesday, and recorded top prices of $128.50 of a top. That was about steady with a week ago, but it's going to be a little better, I think, this week if we wait and see what happens. Look at your slaughter's been pretty good this week, 355,000 so far through Wednesday. That's 7,000 better than last week, and steady with the same week a year ago. Look at your real-time index on feeder cattle. Based on an 800-pound steer, your 7 to 899-pound steers up through the middle 12 states. On Cattle Market Central at 140.54, haven't been over 140 for a while. That's almost $3.50 higher than just the day before. So strong sales on Wednesday, and it has everything to do with the weather. Now, I realize you guys up in Nebraska are still suffering through this flood and aftermath of the flood, but if you get a little bit further south and even up further north, it's been pretty dang nice here from the weekend on through this week, and some warm temperatures, some sunshine. This wheat's starting to pop down here in the southern plains. It's just been pretty darn nice. And we've always said that if the weather ever straightened up, we thought these feeder cattle would come around. Well, they're starting to come around now. Look at your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 9,200 head, including the calves on Tuesday. Feeder steers, $7 to $9 higher, called by the Federal State Market News Service there. That is a ton. Feeder heifers $3 to $5 higher, and you remember on Tuesday they called the calves $6 to $9 higher. And you check the Cattle Market Central automated market report there, you see that on the biggest test of steers on the 8 weights, 1,180 head of 8-weight steers averaged 840 pounds at 138.29. That is over $8 higher compared to the weighted average from the previous week. On the heifers, 776 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 754 at 130.05, up nearly $4 compared to last week's weighted average on the same sale there, and so that goes right along with the trend that they called. Winter Livestock Auction, Dodge City, Kansas had 6,400 head. That is a huge sale for them or anybody else. But feeder steers and heifers there, $3 to $4 higher. Spots as much as $7 or $8 higher on some 6 weights, and that's probably your 6-weight stocker types there that had a thin flesh condition and ready to be turned out and gain some more weight. But look at this Cattle Market Central market report I pulled from Dodge City here. Look at your most popular weights on the steers. 1,168 head of 8-weight steers averaged 846 at 137.10. That's nearly $3 higher compared to last week's weighted average. On the heifers, 891 head of 7-weight heifers averaged 747 at 133.90, and that's almost $4 higher. So very typical, goes right along with the trend that they called on the market report there. Look at a couple of individual quotes. Huss Livestock Market out of Kearney, Nebraska. Look at this quote on some stocker steers. 52 head of 609-pound steers bring 175.35. We haven't heard that for a long time. That's an out-of-sight quote from Huss Platte Valley Market there in Kearney, Nebraska. And the biggest and best quote that we saw all day come from old stomping grounds there, St. Joe Stockyard, St. Joe, Missouri. They had just an average size sale there of 1,800 head. But look at this individual quote of 143 head of steers, weighed 727 at 159.75. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.